Hi, everyone. Today, I want to talk about shopping vintage online. So basically, you're going to the thrift store to look for vintage items or the antiques mall, wherever you like to shop, but it's online. And one good thing about this is that you can find a wider selection and it's pretty easy to look for brands. It's easy to find specific things. If you're online, you're not limited to what's in the shop right in front of you. And I want to show you this. I went to an antique mall once. I feel kind of bad about doing this, but not really. I went to an antique mall. I saw this really cute little wishing well, and it has like a little chain on the bucket. The bucket's not separate. It's one piece, but this is McCoy pottery. And I saw this at the antique mall. I was like, this is really cute, but I think it was really expensive. So depending on what kind of an antique mall you go to, the prices can be pretty high. And I took my phone. I feel kind of bad. Like I said, I took my phone out and searched for this on Etsy, and I found one that was a lot cheaper. So the benefit of going online, like I said, you can find a wider selection, but you can also shop online to find better prices sometimes. And I'll show you one Etsy hack that they've done now that might let you get better prices with some dealers, depending on what you're looking for and if they offer this service. So let's go over to Benible. I'm going to take you to Benible and show you my list of vintage shops that I know are actually reliable. They're not going to rip you off. And you can send them messages. Some of them sell on Etsy, some have their own websites, but I'll take you over to Benible and show you how to figure that out. We're on Benible now, which is, I've done a video about this site before, but this is a site where you can make lists. And what I have done personally, if you go up to my profile in the top right, which the Zoom window might be over, I have a list. If you scroll all the way to the bottom, it's one of the first lists that I made. So it's the way at the bottom. If you click on this vintage finds list, this is a list of shops who are owned by people in my program. So I know them. I can vouch for them being like real people who are not going to rip you off. If you send them a question, they will contact you and answer your question. So these are good shops to start with, just so that you know that you're going to get a good experience and you're not going to get ripped off by somebody sending you junk instead of what you actually thought you were ordering. Well, first, I will mention, if you're not a Benible member, I'll put the link to join in the description right under this video. It's benible.com. I'll put that in the video also. The first shop I want to look at is Blue Dahlia Home. And what you do is you just click there. It'll tell you a little bit about it. You can go directly to the shop. And I believe that this shop has one of the things that I wanted to show you, this little Etsy hack. Etsy has recently started letting you make an offer. Now, I would not go crazy with this, okay? Some vintage sellers don't like it because they price their products pretty, carefully. They don't want to rip people off, but they do need to make a profit and they have to cover their costs and the whole thing. But if you want to look for shops that have this make an offer button, what you can do is you can click on here. You can offer, okay, and they're giving you this is good. They're giving you the amount. So 20% off would be $20, 10%. This is not the same as buying, as it says. Okay. And if you click this, you send the offer. What'll happen is Etsy will let the seller know that there is an offer and they can either reject it or accept it. So you can go ahead and send that, but if they accept it, then you need to buy it, because if you don't buy it at that price, someone else can come along and buy it right after you at the full price, and then it'll be gone because Etsy will let it be sold to someone else. It doesn't hold it for you. But the make an offer is a way that if you want to haggle a little bit, and if people have it, if that button is not there, it means that this shop owner is not interested in haggling and they've set their prices and that's it. Just see if it's there. If not, see if you want to pay whatever they say. But the prices on Etsy are honestly, compared to my local antique mall, they're pretty good. Blue Dahlia has a lot of glassware, it looks like. And you can see the categories over here. Let's say that I'm searching for decorative plates. Why not decorative plates? Okay, so there's plenty of choices here. There's lots of different styles. And see, this is what I'm saying about if you're shopping for vintage online, you can find a lot of different, look, there's Disney here. I mean, these are old like souvenir trays and that kind of thing mixed in with Wedgwood. You can find a lot of different things that you might not be able to find locally. So check this out. Now she's changed her name. Actually, I called it Blue Dahlia, and I think I have Blue Dahlia here, but she's changed her name. I see up in the URL it says Blue Dahlia. So it's My House of Vintage now. So I'm sorry about that, Pamela. I called you by the wrong name. Let's go back to Benible and see the next shop. The Vintage Daisy Vault. Now, this is Heather's shop, and she has a lot of really cool jewelry. Oh, she's taking a break. All right. Well, we can look at some of the things that she has sold in the past. She has glassware. She has glassware. Oh, yeah, yeah, she's on vacation this week. I was talking to her. She's got a lot of jewelry. So if you're looking for vintage jewelry, this is a good place to come, but just wait a few days because I think she's taken a little time off for the Easter holiday. And in the meantime, go on over to Music City Dish Days. Okay. And this is also an Etsy shop. Oh, look, this is really cool. So anyway, there's a lot of, you can just find a really good assortment of things. And it's like sustainable. If you're looking to reduce waste, buying vintage is a good way to keep things from going to the landfill, number one. And it also makes your home a little more interesting because you're not going to have the same stuff as all of your friends because you all bought it at Target. That's not interesting. So Jimmy has a lot of glassware. He's got Pyrex, he's got stemware, he's got china, and he's also got this kind of toys and souvenirs and collectibles. Go on over and check it out. It's a good shop. Obviously, I know Jimmy, and he's got a lot of good selection for you to look through. Next, we have Behaven Home, and I will put the links to all of these shops in the description of the video because you should go over and check them out. This is another Etsy shop. Let's take a look. This one is Sue's shop. Oh, okay. Now she's got the ornaments. See, this is when you're shopping vintage online, you every shop has different things, and some shops specialize in one thing. Maybe they only do glassware, maybe they only do jewelry, but it really just depends. And you can, I mean, look, there's a lamp here. You can get a chandelier along with Christmas ornaments or a little hat. It's quite fun to just kind of browse through these shops. And if you start on my Benible list, then like I said, you're going to get sellers who are not going to rip you off, and you can send them questions if you need to know about sizes and that kind of thing and condition. And one thing I would say, I'm just going to use this example, or this listing as an example. Make sure that when you're looking at vintage online, you're really paying attention to the photos to see the condition of the pieces, because like I see that she's taken pictures in different lights here, like different arrangements, so you can see that the glaze on it is okay. There's the mark on the back, but you really do have to pay attention and read the descriptions. Please read the descriptions because people might say there is some damage to this piece, but you need to read the descriptions to know that. And generally the price will reflect that. So if you see something that's really cheap for what you think it should be, just check that out because sometimes the condition isn't as good as you would want. And it's difficult because a lot of vintage sellers don't allow returns because people will just buy things and then try to send them back if they damage them. And that's, that's what people do. So just don't be one of those people. All right, let's look at Cottage of Vintage. This is Lorelei's shop. And oh, she's in the UK. So if you're in the UK, then it's going to cost you less to buy from her shop than it will for other shops because you're not dealing with international shipping. And I'm not sure, like sometimes these shops only ship within the country that they're in because this is China. This is fragile. And if you want to search that way, you can filter on Etsy to only look for shops in your country. So you can do local that way. All right. So she's got a lot of, now see, I would buy this stuff because these are things that are probably British pottery. I can't get this in the US, right? So by buying internationally, I would be able to get designs and patterns and things that I probably can't find even in antique malls or vintage shops here because most of the things that you're going to get are going to be from the country that you're in if you go in person. So this is a good way to find patterns that you wouldn't necessarily be able to find. And it looks like she's got a lot of ceramic and glassware. So that's a good shop to go to if you're looking for that. Let's look at Our Seasons Past. This is, I know that she's got a lot of really diverse things in here. This is Lynn's shop, and she has a lot of really cool colored glassware. She's got some holiday stuff. You have to see right here, she's got Christmas, but there's only one thing. That's probably because it's a seasonal thing and you have to kind of get them when you see them. And that's another thing. If you're buying vintage, don't say, "Oh, I'll think about it and come back next week," because it might not be here next week. When vintage sells, these are one of a kind, more or less. And so when the seller sells it, they might not have another one to replace it with, and you're just going to miss out. So if you're shopping vintage, that's another tip that I would have. Let me go back to her all. But don't wait. If you see something that you like, go get it. Don't wait and say, "Oh, I'll come back," because it might not be there and then you are going to be disappointed. Okay, let's look at Ag's Vintage Cove. This is Agnes's shop, and she has a lot of kitchenware. I am all over her shop. I look at her shop all the time. She's got some really cool kind of the vintage knick-knacky stuff. It's not just glassware and that kind of thing. She does have glassware, but like here's an egg separator that would actually be useful if you're a baker. Okay. But if you want to do a farmhouse kitchen decor, then it's a good thing to decorate your kitchen with, your farmhouse themed kitchen. So there's all kinds of things. Oh my gosh, that's so cool. The hand crank egg beaters. I love these. And these just kind of take me back. And sometimes you find things that you're like, oh, my mother had one of those. My sister-in-law was driving herself crazy trying to find a potato masher that was the same shape as the one that her mother had. And I'm like, my mom had one of those. I didn't know it was that hard to find. And she's like, yeah, it's really hard to find. So a lot of times you can find those online. So go check this shop out if you're looking for kitchen stuff. There's a lot of stuff there that you will probably find fun. Let's look at how fast time flies. I think she also has a lot of glassware. This is Carrie's shop. I've seen, I'm all over these people's shops because they're in my group. So I see them all the time. Look at this vintage recipe cards. These are really cool. And she's got a lot of them. I wonder where she got those. Wow. See, this is the thing. These vintage sellers spend time going out and finding these things so that they can sell them to you, right? I know that people are like, oh, but it's only 25 cents at the thrift store. They didn't do any sell, they don't do any looking. Things are brought to them and dumped, right? And it's not the same quality as this stuff because vintage sellers go out and source things. They go specifically out and they look for things. And if you get a needlecraft kit at the thrift store, it might be half full, it might be half done, but a vintage seller will go out and look for things at estate sales and yard sales and sometimes thrift stores. If they're lucky, they can find something good. They'll find things that are in good condition. And if they find something that's half done, they'll pass on it. They'll say, no, I'm not going to resell that. But these people are actually doing a public service by, like I said, keeping things out of the landfill. And you can find some really cool stuff because they go out and they have a good eye for what is cool and what is unusual, retro stuff that you probably would not be able to find. And like I said, it's going to take you back to your childhood or just something that your grandma had or whatever. All right, let's look at time toss jewelry. I am so bad with the vintage jewelry. I have so much of it. I don't even wear jewelry, but I just like it. Okay, so this is her website. This is a website and she's got categories. Let's see. Let's look at boho. Okay. This is pretty. I love this. I love this one too. So, yeah, this is the kind of thing where if you are someone who likes to have a unique style, mid-century modern. I have so many of this kind of earrings. And like I said, I don't wear earrings. I just love them. If you're someone that likes to have accessories that no one else is going to have, buy vintage. I spent like when I was in college, I had so many vintage necklaces. I would find them at antiques malls and stuff. There wasn't online back when I was in college. Yeah, there wasn't. So I had to buy things in person, but I would buy vintage jewelry and wear it. And people were always like, oh my God, that's so cool. I was like, yeah, it's vintage. So there you go. Okay, let's look at Vintage India. This is also an Etsy shop. This is Suzanne's shop. She and her husband, I believe, is from India, and they go to India and they source things that are pretty cool. So you're going to be able to find a lot of things from India that are unique in this shop. So it's vintage on top of being from India. And if you're into that aesthetic, this is a really good place to go to find some unique pieces. And again, I will put all the links to these shops in the description of the video. But you can go to my Benible page and find all of them. All right, the Velvet Muzzle. This is a really cool shop. Okay. The Velvet, okay, I'm not sure if she did something with horses to begin with, but her logo has a horse on it. But she basically restores vintage handbags. So you can go and see what she's got and see right now she only has a couple things listed, and it just depends on what you find and what she finds and what she fixes up. So this is why I'm saying don't wait. If you see something that you really like, this is a Coach Slim vinyl tote, okay? And Dooney and Bourke, if you like Dooney and Bourke, then you need to get this now. Don't wait because this is the kind of thing that you will go back and say, "Oh, I'll just wait until the end of the month." And then you go back and it's gone. And then you're sad. So go to Benible and find this list. There's another video about Benible that I have. I'll link to it after this. Shopping vintage is fun. It's fun. It's fun to do it online because you're going to have a much wider range of things. eBay is also good for vintage, but you have to be careful because a lot of times the sellers on there are not as quick to respond. These sellers in these shops, they are all people that I know and I can vouch for them. And, they're going to answer your questions. And that's really important if you're buying vintage because you want to make sure that you're going to get what you think you're getting, condition wise, size wise, that kind of thing. Make sure that you're reading the description. Make sure that you're looking at all the photos. And this is just in general when you shop online for vintage to begin with. Make sure that you're actually looking at the details because a lot of times people don't do that and then they get mad, but all the information was right there and it's not the seller's fault. You need to take responsibility and make sure that you're buying what you think you are by reading the descriptions, looking at the pictures, the whole thing. But vintage shopping online is fun and it gives you a much wider range than buying at the antique malls local to you. There are definitely fun places to buy locally. Go check those out. And just vintage in general is just a fun category. So leave me any questions, give this video a thumbs up, and I will talk to you later.